everybody, I'm Nicole Alvarez. I'm the Customer Success Manager with Tatango.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike Snooze. I'm the Director of Nonprofit Customer Experience at Tatango, and we're talking about Giving Tuesday, which is coming up shortly. Giving Tuesday, Nicole, it's been around for a while now. Each year it gets bigger and bigger. Most nonprofits have jumped on board. It's a very big giving day for them. It kicks off the giving season in a lot of ways and carries on into the end of December, which is also a huge time for fundraising. And some of the questions we get is, what does Giving Tuesday look like from a text messaging standpoint? A lot of organizations are updating their website and doing social media activities, post and advertise emails, and what does it look like from a text message standpoint? And the answer is it's pretty simple. It's pretty similar to it. It's easy to do. A lot of the content's already there. They ask about what is the schedule for Giving Tuesday, and we talked a little bit earlier about the beginning of November is a great time for reporting back and cultivation of your donors. And then the schedule for text messaging I see is a lot like what you do with email. You may have the preview coming up of Giving Tuesday, you may have a Thanksgiving cultivation message, you may have a couple of Giving Tuesday text, multiple going out. We were talking a little bit earlier that it's messaging for the moment, and Giving Tuesday is a moment, and so text messaging is one of those channels that you're going to make sure you're reaching people at the right time during a critical moment.
Absolutely. So November and December are key peak giving times. So that very early November, where we were talking about potentially even avoiding the elections, but it is a chance for you to really talk them through what the rest of the year is going to look like and how they have the ability to make that impact. So if you're really working on the story part of it, planning that out, having a perspective of these are the ways that I want to talk to them, going through the mission and the vision, explaining, reintroducing people to what your organization is all about, but telling that story through many moments. So taking the moment of giving, but giving thanks. I'm going to give time to share my mission. I'm going to give thanks for those who are supporting the organization. I'm also going to give a lot of perspective. So it's all around giving on where, before we just ask, we're going to tell them why. We're going to give them the hows. But then we're going to go for the ask. And so from a Giving Tuesday perspective, it is giving thanks on Thanksgiving Day. It is the day before Giving Tuesday. You want to make that timing relevant. It's not too late. You can give in the morning. Here's our goal. At noon, we're halfway through our day. Here's where we are, right? So as far as the timing and on Giving Tuesday, what do you recommend?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think a lot of the timing can mirror what organizations do from an email standpoint and follow that cadence, but you also can go off that on Giving Tuesday as you're close to a deadline. Most organizations have some sort of matching goal or goal that they're trying to reach. As you're getting closer to that, a lot of those emails are either ready to go or pre-scheduled, but this gives you an opportunity with text messaging to send a one-off update, messaging in the moment that gives a timely update. Maybe there's something relevant that happens that day, or just with a specific donor or something else, and text messages are so easy to get out the door and create and send. So I think that's an important piece for how it's different. And with Giving Tuesday, there are challenges. So it's getting bigger and bigger. There's a lot of organizations that participate. Leading up to Giving Tuesday, you have Black Friday and Small Business Saturday and Cyber Monday. And so there's a lot of noise during that time. We know email deliverability is causing some email messages not to get through. Nonprofits are also trimming their email list, where it's only the people who've opened in the past few months that they are sending to improve their deliverability. So some of the challenges are getting in front of people on Giving Tuesday, having them engage and read and open your message. So when we think about challenges and either having to pay to get in front of them, and it's a lot more expensive to advertise and pay on Giving Tuesday at end of year, or making sure your emails are getting in front of them, text messaging is one way. We know with 99% open rates, with high click-through rates, that they're going to get the message that is sent. So some of these challenges, it's about having the message in front of them enough, and text messaging is one of the ways that you can ensure that your constituents are going to get the message, that they're going to read it. But there's also some different things you can do with text messaging that you cannot do on email as well, or you cannot do on social. We can add in, email, you can add in merge fields for a certain amount that you want to ask the donor. You can do that with text messaging too. So if you last gave $100, we can ask you to give $100 again, or $125. You can do that on email, but that's harder to do with some of these other channels, search and social. to personalize the ask for the donors. That's a big thing nonprofits do with direct mail, and from a direct response standpoint, you can include that within text messaging as well. There's also some unique features we've talked about where you can include video that you watch it maybe on your watch or your phone and it gets in front of people. You can have audio messages that you can get a thank you or some sort of message from a president after the campaign. There's animation. There's different things that click to share where you get a message, you click on a button, and then it pops up a text message you can share with other people. So there's a lot of unique things that text messaging adds, not only with reach, getting in front of people and ensuring they're going to engage it, there's some cool tools and some new things they can do that'll supplement your campaign to help them engage and hopefully convert them on Giving Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Giving Tuesday is you're messaging in the moment, right? You're showing what's going to take in the moment for them to cultivate that donor, for them to ask for that one-time donation. But there's also a key piece of Giving Tuesday that is turning one-time donors into recurring donors. So talk a little bit about that, of what your recommendation would be to turn those one-time donors on Giving Tuesday into long-time, lifetime supporters.
Yeah, it's a great point, and the priority for nonprofits, really for those small and mid-sized donors, should be to convert them into a monthly donor. We know the retention rate is much higher, almost 3 times higher. We know the lifetime value of monthly donors is much higher, again, almost 3 times higher. So some nonprofits try to convert their one-time donors and non-donors to monthly donors around Giving Tuesday and the end of giving season. Also after, in January, that is a peak time. People are most likely to become a monthly donor after giving a one-time gift within those first 30 days. Mm-hmm. So some organizations trying to convert them to monthly donors at Giving Tuesday and year end. But if you don't focus on that, if you're more focused on the one-time donations during that time, then as you get into January, then running campaigns to convert them to monthly donors. And so text messaging can help with engaging and reporting back on the impact of donations, but also then getting that message to try to convert them to become an ongoing monthly donor, where we know the lifetime value is going to be much greater. But the lifetime value is higher with those monthly donors. So that's really the goal of getting a non-donor to become a one-time donor, and then moving those one-time donors to monthly donors, and using things like specific gift ask amounts in email and text messages is an important way to do that. If you're somebody who gives $50 regularly, we may ask you to give $5 or $10 or $20 monthly. So having an amount that is specific to your giving capacity and what you've given in the past, and that's something you've always been able to do with direct mail, though obviously there's an expense there. You can do it with email, and you can also do it with text messaging to get the right ask in front of the person to convert them to the right type of gift.
But being smart in the incremental asks, like you're saying. So if I've consistently given $50 a month, it might be a hard reach to say, can you give $1,000 a month? So being smart in the ask. I noticed that you gave $50 on this date. We would love for you to increase that to $60. So being strategic in the ask, but also being smart and realistic, that it might not be more, I can do an extra $5 or $10 a month, but I can't do an extra several $100s a month. So being smart in that. Yeah,
and one of the cool features Tatango has just added is, because we're a platform that is geared towards fundraising and engaging your donors and trying to get them to move along that donor journey and eventually become a larger donor, we have the ability, if you ask them for a specific amount, you can then increase that amount within the platform to ask them to give a little bit more, so 125% of your last gift amount. And that's one of the things, tooting our own horn here, that Tatango is geared towards giving and engaging donors. And so we have features like that where if you've last given $100, Nicole, we have automated features that we can ask you for $125
right.
automatically. So that's one of the cool features, that to replicate what we know works in direct mail and bring it to other channels, to email and to text messaging. You know, there's a history that type of approach works with donors to upgrade them, to keep them, to get them to a greater level of giving. And so that's one of the cool things you can do with Tatango's functionality.
So one of the key pieces of Tatango is donation fundraising, right? It's where our roots are. It's where we started. It's what we know. So now that we're in the nonprofit space and we are a trendsetter and a leader in nonprofit fundraising, we have more key pieces than anybody else as far as preparing these nonprofits for Giving Tuesdays. for that customer journey, for the best practices. We've got the analytics behind it to be able to share our best practices of our working with many nonprofits across the months and years. So with Tatango's platform being unlike anybody else's, because we're able to help them with the fundraising ask and the aspect, that engagement piece is key. So you engage in many different avenues on text marketing, whether it is the donation ask or it is, here's our vision. So in January, when we hit the refresh button for 2023, and we're talking about, thank you so much for what you were able to give. Are you able to increase that a little bit more? Here's what we're able to do with those donations. Here's our Q1 objectives. Here's what we're going to do with these funds that we raised. Here's how much we raised. Here's what we're going to do with it. So being transparent in that refresh is going to be able to increase the lifetime value for that customer.